So I haven't picked up my acrylic brush since we closed, so I'm a little bit rusty. I've only picked up a small 3D brush to do some 3D art recently, but apart from that I've not really picked up any beads. I'm going to change up the colors of the design. I do like that lilac lavender color that I used in the picture, but it marbles quite a bit. I'm going to use this color called Jade. It is beautiful, and for our core color I am using ballet slippers. Jade does marble a little bit, but nowhere near as much as lilac, so just gonna grab a medium size bead. And with colored acrylic, you're not building, you're just laying a thin layer. See how it marbles a little bit? Just twirl your brush around, and then we just paint that down and feather it up the other way as well. To blend. We don't want any harsh lines in your colored acrylic. You want it really seamless and blended. That's why I like doing ombres with acrylic, because you can really blend that out easily. I'm just going to add a bit more down the base. So with Jade, even though it marbles a little bit, as soon as you start working it, it pretty much goes away. It mixes in. It's just the white separating from the actual pigment. So anywhere you feel like it needs a little bit more, just add it in. Move that out of the way, clean your brush off, and then as soon as the green starts to set and it goes dull, you can straight away go in with your ballet slippers, because they're not going to get muddy and blend into each other. So you just want that shine to go and it starts to dull. So even at this point, it's really not going to melt into each other, so we can go in with our ballet slippers. So we're going to get a medium-sized bead. So I'm gonna, because this is a longer nail, I'm going to do this in 2 beads. So you would place your bead right at that blend line and then blend over it, and then you'd place another bead at the back. So I'm going to pick up a medium-sized bead, place that on the blend line, let that polymerize a bit, flatten it out, and then just place your brush at the edge of that bead to blend that, and then we can flatten out the top if it's sitting a bit high, and just blend that base. I'm not flattening out that brush too much because I'm replicating like as if it were a client and I'm adding in the apex. So now I'm going to go in with another bead at the back. So push into the cuticle, nice and flush, and swipe down. And then if you need to add one more bead on the apex, do so. If you feel like your blend line's a little too high, like if you don't want it too high, you can definitely bring it down. You just add more and do the same. Add at the blend line and bring it down. I'm just gonna add some more at the apex area. Flatten that top bit to blend it out, and then drag down. Every time I drag down, I'm cleaning my brush off. Okay, now I'm going to encapsulate in clear. So with encapsulating clear, you really only need to cover that blend line down and that colored acrylic. You don't want to bulk up the back any further. You've already got enough product there around the cuticle that you're going to have to file off anyway. So you don't need to add the clear all the way back there, probably from just above the blend, like on the highest point. So I'm just going to grab some acrylic, place that there, come from the front, like the top of the bead, to blend that out, and then work your way down. So that's all nice and smooth and even, nice apex, that curve, yes. So that's all encapsulated, so we'll give that a moment to set and then we will quickly buff over it. It doesn't need much finish filing because the application, you try and keep it smooth as possible, so give that a second. And then we'll quickly whip over. Following that curve of the nail. So I was quite happy with the structure of the nail already. So I've just quickly whipped over that and I'm just gonna buff it. Once you're happy with that, clean the nail. We're off with this beautiful ombre. And now we're just going to matte coat that. That is the finish that you want it. So give that a good matte coat. A random bit of glitter always in my matte coat. Give that a full cure. So this is my second time recording this last bit, the hand painted part, because the first footage was out of focus and it kept focusing on the paper towel I had sitting behind it. So take two. Grab any white gel paint and your liner brush. You could even do it in gel polish if you want. I just find gel paint to be very opaque. So grab some on your brush and we're just gonna put guidelines, dots of every point of the star in first, and then we will connect the dots. So I want to do a big star first, and then I'm going to do a medium size and a small one. So I'm going to start the point here. I also want my star to come off of the side, so we're not going to see all 5 points perfectly. We'll probably see 3, and then 2 others will be off the edge of the nails. So follow that line down, 1 there, and then I want 1 over here, and just following that line across. The other one's going to come off the edge, so I'm just going to put a guideline there of where to meet up, maybe a little bit higher. That'll come off the side, and that will come down at about there and come off the side. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more product on my brush. So these are only a guide, and then you can tweak it, and if you need to extend some of them you can, but this is just to get our main lines in, and then from there we can perfect it afterwards. So guidelines are always good, because if you end up trying to paint it freehand, sometimes you're gonna spend more time fixing than yeah, you're gonna spend more time fixing and, you know, trying to get your proportions right. Whereas this way, you've got your guides there and you've had a look first before you've even started painting. You know where you need to go. Okay. And then this one across to here. Meet up there. So this one I know is going to be down here further, so there's going to be a gap from this point to here because the point is meant to come out here. So going to meet there, and then this one's the same where the point isn't going to quite meet up to here. It's going to be a bit down further. So there's a rough guide. I'm going to extend this one out and make it a bit longer, just to match the height of this one. I'm also going to get a brush with a little bit of alcohol on it just to clean the tip of that one because it's just a little bit messy. A bit messy and a little bit too long for my liking. So clean that. That's my fridge, my little bar fridge. Okay, so once you're happy with that, have a look at it. Once you're happy with the proportion, then you can start filling it in. So I'm just going to grab a bigger amount on my brush and just start filling in my shape. Now we do want to make sure it's quite even and opaque and the coverage is full. Otherwise, when you put sugar and glitter on, it will show through the pattern underneath. Like if it's inconsistent, it will show because the sugaring glitter is so fine. You can use a really fine glitter that isn't technically a sugaring glitter. It'll just be more textured. And it will definitely just feel like raw glitter, which, you know, with all raw glitter in time with wear, it dulls down to almost not smooth but less scratchy. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten that one up a bit more. So just tweak it until you're happy. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to do the same on top. Dot, dot, up there, 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 there. Just following the lines. All right, and now we're going to fill it in. The smaller ones are always easier for me. Not sure why. So once you're happy with that, start filling it in. And then I'm just going to do a little baby one here. And I'm going to put it slightly more on an angle so it's not so straight. Just to change it up so they're not all pointing the same direction. Alrighty, so once you're happy with that, make sure to clean off your brush because I am notorious for not cleaning it straight away. Clean off your brush and then grab your sugaring glitter and just your cuticle pusher, if it has a scoop, a spoon. So we're just gonna spoon it over the uncured gel paint. Make sure to really cover it well. Tap it off a few times and that'll soak in the first layer, and then add some more on, because we sometimes with gels it'll absorb and it'll still look wet and the glitter doesn't really shine through properly, so just cover that a few times. Once it's fully covered and you're happy, oh, that looks pretty even with the background with the glitter. Give that a full cure. So after that's fully cured, you can just dust away the excess and that should reveal the matte coat underneath and the gorgeous stars twinkling. So I think it might be a bit hard to see in this light, the stars. I wonder if I move my lamp away if you'll be able to see it, but they reflect so beautifully. But yeah, such a simple design. So effective, great feature. Have a play with it, let me know what you think, and I'd love to see your recreations.